So Google added another E onto their EAT acronym. So it's now EEAT. No, I'm not kidding. It is now EEAT. And that extra E stands for experience. So Google updated their documentation on December 15th and now is referencing their EAT acronym with this extra E. And again, it means experience. In today's video, I'm gonna go over exactly what this new EEAT is all about, how to optimize for this E and EAT in general, how to check the EAT of your site right now, and how to get more EAT today. So I just want to jump into my screen really quick and just kind of showcase the section of the quality rater guidelines that has been updated the most. And if you have never been here before, you should definitely go and read the quality rater guidelines because it helps guide your thinking when you're working on your website. And I was just Googling or searching for this new acronym in their guidelines, and they've updated every reference to it to now have this extra E on it. So again, what the new thing is it's experience, right? Google is like, hey, if you don't have experience, then the page is not trustworthy, therefore you should not rank. So if Google thinks that your article is not trustworthy, you're not gonna rank. And it's looking for signals that suggest you have experience. So now experience is just part of the mix. Previously, it was authoritativeness and expertise. In general, my position on EEAT stuff is like, it's all backlinks. At the end of the day, like backlinks will tell Google that you have experience, you have expertise, authoritativeness, which will help them trust your site. Now, I think that Google is trying to get away from backlinks, and I think over the next couple of years, backlinks will continue to decline as a signal for rank, although I don't think they're ever going away. But this is, to me, is like, hey, Google wants to get away from backlinks as much as possible, and will start tuning in more towards things that suggest that the writer, the content creator has experience. And now, in my opinion, how does Google figure out experience? Really, it's gonna come down to the words on the page, right? Are you using words and describing the article in such a way where it suggests you have experience about the topic? And things like entities will help Google understand that. So overall, I don't think there's anything for people to do. I think this is more just like hey, documentation is now updated and you should read the quality rater guidelines. And maybe one day I'll do a video on me just like going through the major sections. But it's, to me, this feels like very much like just a documentation update, and they've already been tuning their algorithm to account for experience. This is more just like, hey guys, FYI, this is happening now, and like you should be aware of it. So how do we optimize for this new EAT acronym? A couple of different ways. The first way, I think, is tuning into entities. So there's a tool that Google uses or has that's called Google's NLP tool demo. And if you're not familiar with it, it helps you understand what entities are on your page. Now, if you're not familiar with what entities are, think of entities, because there's this new concept called like entity SEO. And all it really means is that instead of being like keyword centric, it's like topic centric SEO. So I have an article about cars. Google doesn't look at that article and say, oh, it uses the word keyword for cars and it goes off of that. It's really looking for like the whole picture. It's like what words are included on the page as well as the word cars. Is it like Cars the movie? Is it Cars like automobile cars? Is it Cars band? I think there's a band called Cars. So it's looking for other words to help infer. Now, I'm gonna show you a tool that Google has called their Natural Language API demo. And what it's gonna do is it's going to share with me the entities that are in the article or in the snippet of content. So let me actually plug in a piece of content. Actually, real time, what I'm gonna do is like, I like Apple. Actually, how about this, even better yet? So like, I like to drive cars on the highway. So let's see what happens when I plug this in, right? Hit analyze. I'm not a robot. So cars, consumer good, highway location. So it's saying, okay, I understand that this snippet, this like string is talking about cars and like cars, consumer good, right? And salience is just like how confident, right? I think this is basically saying. So if we go to categories, there's no categories. Okay. So if I like change this to say like, I like to go to the movies and watch the movie Cars. Let's see what that does. So now movies, movie, cars. So it's like, it's understanding that it's different, right? It's seeing that there's movies and movie cars. So it basically, Google is understanding that this is about something different. So the reason I bring this up is because if your article has and covers topics that suggest you are experienced, like the entities that are used in your article suggest you're experienced, like say you're a pest control expert and you're referring to pesticides and you're referring to equipment, specific equipment that only a pest control operator would know about. Say you're referring to techniques of pest control. You're using certain applicators. Basically, by writing that way, you're going to convey experience, and Google will pick up on that through entities. So that's the best way I can describe like trying to optimize for this new E in the EEAT acronym here. And there are tools that will help you make sure you cover these things like ClearScope, Surfer. These are just tools that will help pull out the right entities to talk about that make sure you're covering the right topics. Let me actually show you what ClearScope looks like in the background and how it works. So I have ClearScope's website pulled up. So this is what it looks like in their backend. And when you put in a keyword here, it's gonna tell you the entities that you need to include to make sure that you're creating comprehensive content. Now, not doing this, I think you leave yourself wide open to not have the E and the EEAT covered, right? That extra E. I think by covering the right entities and making sure that you have very comprehensive and thorough content, you will be fine as it relates to this. So aside from like making sure that the words on the page are right, I also think there are other things like getting authorship right, using schema that you mark up the author box with correct schema that tells Google through code that, hey, there's a real author here, and you can have like a bio on the page, you can mark that up. I want to actually show you an example of this done really well by a site called Bankrate. Now, you may not be familiar with Bankrate, but they have really good SEOs that work over there. So I like to monitor sites that I know are doing SEO really well to see what they're working on and how they're doing it. So let's just go to a random article. I'll go to this one. So if you see, like, you hover over all this is like great EAT, right? Again, like I come from the perspective that I think most of EAT comes from backlinks. And like, if you just have a really great solid backlink profile, you're going to cover like 95% of EAT. But doing stuff like this and having like hovers and like having all of this profile stuff here, and then having links to their author bios, I think this is like nailing it, right? So if I actually take this and I actually go to a tool called validator.schema.org, plug that in, and you're actually gonna see the schema that's used on this page. And this is important because then you can see, hey, this is like marked up. So Google can read this and consume it and then make a judgment call, right? Or at least maybe include it in its algorithm somehow. I would say that this is not required, but I would recommend doing something like this. Now, if you go back to the original page and you run this page through the same tool, you can see that it has its own set of schema, right? And the author should be referred to in here somewhere. So let's see if we can find them. So if you go through here, so they're not in here. If you go back, let's go to article. And we got publisher. Okay, so right here, you got creator, you got author, creator, and editor. And then you have these same as links. So what's happening here is that the Bankrate has marked up the content and said, okay, this person, Barry Bridges, exists over here on our website. Now, does Google use this? Does Google crawl and follow all this? Hard to say. There's nobody that will for sure know, but this is general best practice, and you're creating a nice map, a web for Google to follow, and breadcrumbs for Google to crawl through. So if you see this, hey, Barry Bridges is over here. So if we go to Barry Bridges' page, which is right here, you click that, there's Barry Bridges. You got his profile, you got a nice write-up, expertise, some notable publications. You're just making it so easy for Google to see that this person is important, has expertise, is authoritative, is trustworthy. So it maximizes the chance that you rank. And if you're trying to rank on best credit cards, you're going to need every ounce of advantage you can get. So doing something like this is super important. Another thing I want to cover is Trustpilot and Better Business Bureau. So in the quality rater guidelines, Google will constantly refer back to reputation of the publisher. And how can you tell Google actively through other websites what your reputation is? Well, you go to Trustpilot and you go to Better Business Bureau. And there are others out there, but to me, those are the two major ones that have been around the longest that Google will look to see, okay, what is the sentiment for your website on those websites? So if I go to my screen here and we go to BBB dot, I'll just do BBB and then bank rate, and then I'll do BBB and then, or I'll do bank rate Trustpilot. Let's see if they're up here. So I feel like bank rate should be here. So they're here, right? Bank rate is listed. And they also are listed on BBB. So in both cases, they're being linked to, and they have an A+ rating, and they don't have any reviews, and they have some complaints. But I think the fact that they're there can create positive reputation signals for a website. And I would recommend, if you are serious about SEO, setting up your profiles on Trustpilot, on Better Business Bureau, and maybe doing a better job than what Bankrate is doing, and try to seed it with positive reviews from your customers, from your website visitors, right? Because there's no reason why you can't load this up with positive reviews and have it and have that connection back to your website, right? So I would definitely recommend doing that. And another thing that I would recommend you do is try to get a Wikipedia article, right? So if we go to Bankrate, and I'm about to show you this, but so we go to Bankrate's search result, and you click these three dots here, and you go to more about this page. You can see that there is a section called About This Source, and it's linking to Wikipedia. Google loves Wikipedia. In fact, its entire knowledge graph is based on Wikipedia's website. So Google understands the internet based on how Wikipedia has organized its own website. They're sort of tied in together. And very often, Google will look for a Wikipedia page for a website to help it understand more about the website. If it can't find one, it's not bad, but if you can get a Wikipedia page for your website, that's really valuable. Also, to get a Wikipedia page, I have a little bit of experience with this. You need to be mentioned in the news. You need to be newsworthy. You need to have covered something. You need to have done something. The website needs to just be mentioned in the news as the main topic. If your website is mentioned in the news, you can go to one of Wikipedia's contributors and attempt to get a page. And they're always going to ask, hey, is this website mentioned in the news? Is it mentioned on other websites often? If yes, then you stand a pretty good chance of getting a Wikipedia page that links back to your site, which then Google will crawl. The next thing I want to talk about is an About Us page. So an About Us page is critical to eat. If you don't have an About Us page, you're really setting yourself back a lot. In fact, in the quality rater guidelines, Google specifically calls out About Us pages. And in fact, your About Us page should be as robust as you possibly can make it. You shouldn't have like 300 words on your About Us page and like as an afterthought, because we know Google looks at that page and like the Contact Us page and the About page are two pages Google looks at. And honestly, I would specifically call the About Us page About-Us, because Google knows that that's usually how it's referred to. So that's really important. So a quick website that I wanted to share that I thought was doing an About Us page really well was a site called Comparitech. Now they have, first of all, a drop down on the About Us page, and they operate in the VPN niche, which is an extremely competitive niche and one that I would not get into, but you can check out their About page. And this is a great About page. It's got the team, it's got LinkedIn and Twitter, it's got featured in, it's got disclosures, how we make money, just a very robust About page. And this type of page supports EAT, right? Again, I'm a big advocate, like EAT is probably mostly backlinks, but the rest, the 10% that isn't backlinks, it's probably a strong About page that has a brand, that has our research, links to other websites that it uses, that has schema. I guarantee you, if you go back to the schema website, it is going to be marked up with schema. Let's see. So we got organization. Okay, we got, looks like they basically connect their organization back to their social media profiles, which is good. If you go to web page, you can see, okay, this is saying, hey, it's my About page, entry point. It's not bad. Like I think they can do a better job with their schema. They can mark up all these authors, but they don't, and that's fine, because they still do the bare minimum, which is mark up their About page, and they connect their About page to their socials, so Google knows there's a connection there with that same as link. The last thing I wanted to talk about is multiple offers. So I think most of the people that watch me and in general, my experience is affiliate sites, right? And if you are an affiliate site and you only have one offer on your page and it's like a review article, Google does not like that. Google likes unbiased reviews. If you have if you basically link out to one website or Amazon, for example, or Chewy or something, if you're a pet site, and it thinks that you're unbiased or it thinks that you're biased, right? You're getting paid by those companies. It's going to potentially demote you, right? If Google thinks, even if you're not, but if Google thinks that your website is just sending people to Amazon and you don't have any other offers on your page, I firmly believe that you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. I think a couple years ago you could have gotten away with that, but I think if you're trying to make your site future-proof, having multiple offers on the page with different options for the user to go to Chewy, to Amazon, to some other dog site or dog e-commerce site, if you're a pet site, will ultimately make it so that you are most protected. Because Google specifically calls out in its quality rater guidelines that it thinks that you're biased if you're only linking to one source. So how do you check how much EAT your site has? Okay, I'm going to show you 3 different examples. The first example I'm going to show you is a site called plumminglab.com. This is a good example of a site that was penalized in what their EAT looks like. So I've pulled Plumbing Lab up in Ahrefs, and you can see very clearly that their traffic was pretty high in December of 2020, and then it just went down a lot. Now it's like near 1,000 or whatever. So I just want to show you what their EAT looks like and how to get to it. So if I just type in Plumbing Lab into Google like this, I want you to click these 3 dots here and then go to more about this page. And you can see what Google has on this website. And this right here, Google is going to show this if it can't find a Wikipedia page for your site. So don't worry too much if you don't have this. What I would really have you look is this section here. If you don't see a ton going on in this section, this is really where you want to spend your time and focus on, right? So I don't see much in the way of content related to this site. So if I go to Depend Plum, there's nothing here. So really what you want to see is links, like mentions of your site. And we don't see much of that in here. So the second site I want to show you is Pest Strategies, my old site. And I want to show you the difference between Plumbing Lab and Pest Strategies so you can see what good EAT looks like versus bad. And I think part of the reason Plumbing Lab isn't doing well is because they just didn't do a good job with this. I think there's other reasons why they didn't do well, backlinks mostly, but let me show you what Pest Strategies looks like. So if I Google Pest Strategies and we do the same thing, more about this page, you can see that Pest Strategies is mentioned multiple times. You can see that the topic is still here because basically you have this section about the site. So web results from the source, web results about the source. And you can see that we're mentioned. We're mentioned on PCT Online, mypmp.net, Timeout. These are big websites that are authorities in the niche. If you go back to Plumbing Lab, there's nothing like that here. So that to me is a signal that there's something really missing with this site. Now the third site I want to show you is called Comparitech. We already looked at them a little bit. So let's take this bit right here and go in here and then do the same thing, hit the 3 dots, more about the page. So the same thing, right? They have really great EAT. They've been mentioned a lot around the web, and you can see that various websites showcase them. They're mentioned in these directories: ZoomInfo, Muckrack, Crunchbase, SEMrush has some stuff. It looks like it's Security Guru. It looks like they actually had a little bit of a digital PR campaign here back in 2021. So this is what it would look like to have a good section, a good EAT section in this part. And is it like exactly how Google looks at you? Probably not, but this is a section you want to be fairly robust. So how do you get more EAT right now? So say you're doing this right now for your website. You're like, man, mine looks pretty bad. Mine's empty, or I have a brand new website, or there's only a few things in here. How do you get more EAT? What is my strategies? What are my go-tos? First things first, Harrow. Harrow is a great place. It's called Help a Reporter Out. It's a great place for you to engage with journalists and pitch, because what's going to happen is there's going to be queries that they're going to put out there, and you just respond to them with answers. And if the journalists like your answer, they will include you in the result, right? So that's number one. Number two, digital PR. So I showed you an example before with Comparitech with a couple of digital PR campaigns. Let me actually show that one again. So I'm still here. If I scroll down to this bit right here, it's Security Guru linked to Comparitech based on this digital PR study. And all it is basically a survey. If you want to grow your authority, you should be doing basically data studies, right? And then pitching them to these sites to get linked. And that's it. That's pretty much all it comes down to. And you can see Comparitech did, 1 in 5 Google Play apps, right, violates children's online privacy. So they did some kind of research and then they pitched it to these sites and they got picked up. This key findings section is very common for data studies to have this kind of layout. So what else? More content in your niche. I do think that having lots of content, a deep content library, will send signals to Google that you are a thorough, you have expertise in the niche. Like the second E now, right? If you have lots of content on your site, you're going to communicate to Google that I am an expert in this niche, because they're all this content on the site. Google's gonna be like, oh, 300 articles about pest control. This site must be an expert about pest control, especially when they're all interlinked and they're all well organized. That's gonna go a long way. The next thing is unique photos and videos. The more unique content you can put on the site, I am a firm believer that Google, when it indexes unique content on a website, that is a +1 gold star for your website. If you're just using a bunch of stock photos, that's fine, but it's not like above and beyond, right? I am a big advocate for custom photos and videos if you can. I do use YouTube videos a lot on my websites, on my blogs. You can embed them onto your site for free. But photos, I try to at least take stock photos and put like words and like overlays and colors on those photos so then become unique. And that can go a long way. Then the last thing is schema markup. I showed you a couple examples of schema markup. Doing schema to me is like playing the long game with SEO. Do I think like Google uses schema and like people with schema outrank people without it? I don't. Anything you can do to help Google understand your page, and schema is exactly that way. Like marking up, showing exactly what Google needs to know about the author, where they're located on the internet, things that they're known for, what's their experience. If that's all marked up with schema, right? Let me show you again what Bankrate is doing so that it's super clear to you what's going on. So if we go back to Bankrate, right? So we'll go back to let's go to credit cards again. And again, Barry Bridges, if you go to his article and then you plug this into Validator, you can see exactly what they're doing in the schema that they have on this profile. So they've marked up this job title. How easy is it for Google to consume this as a robot and see exactly what's going on with Barry? Now, how do you do this? There are a couple of plugins. Rank Math is very popular one that can help you do something like this. A developer obviously can help you write, add this code to your page. If I'm you, I probably will use Rank Math. I have Rank Math on a number of my sites. I'm pretty sure Yoast can also do this, but I tend to prefer Rank Math. So that's pretty much it. If you like this types of content, make sure you like and subscribe this video. Overall, EEAT is the new standard. I don't think much has changed. I think Google's always been using it. But ultimately, I've mentioned a bunch of stuff in here to help you understand what can you be doing to maximize your EAT right now and future-proof your site. So again, if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below if you agree with my thoughts, if you disagree. Let's have a dialogue, and I will see you in the next video. Talk to you soon.